Hello everyone, hi, my name is Jerome Porter and welcome back to Sparecast Tech Review. Alright, before I get started, go ahead and hit the follow or hit the subscribe button so you can see more content that I have coming. I know it's been a while since I've put a video out there, but I had some things to take care of. Okay, so I'm back. This video is about the safety tips or using Tesla Autopilot responsibly. Using it, knowing all the safety precautions that come along with it. Most people think when you buy Autopilot, Autopilot is automatic and you don't have to, you can just set it and forget it. And it doesn't quite work that way. It's a very good system, but it's also based on the lane markings of the road. And certain cities or certain states don't maintain their road or their lane markings. So if Tesla Autopilot is going to follow pretty much what it sees, or if it doesn't see. So with that being said, this video is going to give you some things to consider. Remember, before I played a video, I made a video of me actually driving around in my in my Tesla with Autopilot activated. So I'll show you some of the things that you should be concerned about while you're driving. The whole point of Tesla Autopilot is that it looks at the left lane and it looks at the right lane, and it keeps the car centered. So it needs to be able to see lane markings in order to keep the vehicle centered. And I'm mentioning that because later on in the video you'll see how important that is, why I said it's important. Okay, this is my Tesla right here. I call it Red Diamond. I bought it back in 2017. Ordered it on the Tesla website. Took about 30 days before I received it. Probably one of the best cars I've ever owned. I got quite a few vehicles. I've owned some nice cars, but this vehicle here is, to me, maintenance free. One of the best cars I ever owned. But Tesla Autopilot, we're going to go ahead and talk about that. Okay, so I'm in the car now. And we're driving, and as you can see, I'm going to turn down my turn signal is to the stick just to the left. Or right below that stick is another stick that actually activates Autopilot, and I'm going to switch to a scene in a minute where you'll actually see it. If you press down, that'll lower your speed if you're in Autopilot. If you press up, that'll increase your speed. If you pull it towards you once, it'll just activate regular cruise control. If you pull it towards you really quick twice, that actually fully activates Autopilot. So fully activating Autopilot, bring it towards you twice, the stick. Okay, as you can see here, there's some blue icons that pop up on the screen once Autopilot is engaged. You'll see the little steering wheel. That little blue steering wheel on the screen actually turns with your actual physical steering wheel, which is pretty cool. Also to the left of the speed, there's a little small number, which is the speed that Autopilot is going to maintain. That's what the little blue circle lets you know that's the Autopilot speed. And then right below that, there's 2 lanes on the side of your car, and those are the 2 lanes that Autopilot is trying to keep you in the center. It's all about keeping your car in the center of those lanes. There's other things going on with Autopilot, but that's one of the big things. So one of the first safety tips of using Tesla Autopilot is do not use your Autopilot in a residential area. Especially if you're not, I don't know how the full self-driving is, but I have enhanced Autopilot. If you can see, there's a right-hand lane, curb, and there's a left curb, and then in the middle you see there's no center lane marking. So if you activate Autopilot in a residential neighborhood, Autopilot is going to put you directly dead center in the middle of that lane, and that's not what you want, because you really want to stay to one side, even though there's no lane markings there. So don't use Autopilot in residential neighborhoods. Now, full self-driving might be totally different. I don't have it, so I can't speak on it. Okay, so now we're on a busy road here, and we got a left turning lane coming up. And the first arrow shows the left turning lane. And as you can see, there's a solid white line, but it's short. It doesn't cover that whole turning lane. So Autopilot sometimes will actually dart a little bit to the left, and then it'll correct itself, but it might scare you a little bit. But if you've driven on this road before several times, sometimes Autopilot will remember. But initially, if you drive down the road and it sees lane markings missing, it'll actually try to recenter itself, and because it doesn't see any lines there. So just make sure you're holding the steering wheel. Definitely, you should be holding it, touching it at all times, but make sure you're definitely touching it in this situation here. Another thing should be, this is another what's coming up here. Now this one's probably one of my biggest concerns. Okay, the first arrow, that's the lane that I'm driving in. But as you notice ahead, that's a split lane. That's 2, and as you see, there's no lane markings prior to that split. So sometimes if Autopilot doesn't see any lanes to the right, it'll actually dart over to the right. and then it'll correct itself in, in most cases. But still, if it moves too far to the right and there's another car there, that could be a problem. So make sure you got your hand on the steering wheel when you see the lane marking splitting like that. And this is not really so much autopilot fault more than it is. It's just it's not the road markers are not consistent. From one state or one city to the other. So this is one thing you want to be really mindful for. Make sure you're holding the steering wheel when you see the lane markings are not there, but you see the road splitting. The next part that's coming up now, this right here, what I'm about to show you now, this is how the lane markings should be, and you'll see in a few seconds. You see those little dotted lines right there prior to the solid line. That's how turn when you want to turning lanes, or when you're about to turn as you're about to exit off the highway. That's how it should be. Right now I'm in the lane here, the first green arrow. There's a solid white line all along that turn exit, and Autopilot will keep you in your correct lane because the lane markings are correct. And so in those situations, you don't have to worry about Autopilot. So with that being said, Autopilot is a very, very good system. I trust it, but you just have to be mindful of Autopilot's limitations. If the lane markings are not correct, then you're going to have issues. So just make sure you're holding the steering wheel. Also, going around roundabouts, I wouldn't, if you're driving and you see a roundabout coming up and you got your Autopilot engaged, it'd probably be a good idea to disengage it, because I haven't had a whole lot of good luck with actually trying to go around it. I think I tried it once and I have never tried it again. So if you see roundabouts coming up, turn your Autopilot up. Also, construction sites. Even though Tesla Autopilot now can recognize cones, I don't recommend having Autopilot on during construction sites, because if they're putting down new lane markings, but maybe they haven't finished removing the old ones, Autopilot will get confused really quick. So be mindful of when you're using Autopilot in your construction areas. I would recommend just turning the Autopilot off until you get out of that construction zone. Like I said, I trust Autopilot. I've used it. I've driven from Texas all the way to Georgia and back, and I can say about 70-80% of the time the Tesla Autopilot was doing the driving. I didn't have to intervene. It's a really solid system. The problem is that different cities and different states, some actually take care of their roads and some don't. And the ones that don't take care of their lane markings is where Autopilot kind of has some issues. Now, full self-driving may take care of all of that. I don't know. Maybe somebody with full self-driving, if it's even, I don't even know if it's still, I know there's some legislative things that needs to be taken care of before federal guidelines or whatever as far as using full self-driving. I don't know if it's activated yet. I have to find out. I've thought about buying it. I know I can add it. I just haven't yet because I want to make sure it's working well. So anyway, that's pretty much it. Thank you for tuning in. If you, like I said, don't forget, I think I said earlier, beginning of the video, if you want to see more of my videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And thank you for stopping by, and have a good day. Thank you.